Ronnie O'Sullivan.
What's the call, gents?
Go on, Ronnie.
It's sometimes questioned whether
Tails?
Ronnie should be
Tails it is, Ronnie.
centre stage
Okay.
all the time. Obviously here, no option. It's just a one.
Thank you.
Tournament.
The first frame.
The reason he's centre stage
Ronnie
in
O'Sullivan to
multi-table
break.
tournaments is obvious, evident for all to see.
Oh, handy little, just a tiny graze on the brown ball there, which is caused the snooker. The stage is set, isn't it, for O'Sullivan? Good crowd, very good. Best of the week to see the Rocket play. And he acknowledged them when he walked in. We love this kind of setup. But he's like anyone else, he's got to come to grips with the table.
Foul and a
That's
miss.
not reached.
Stuart Bingham 4.
Got the line correct.
The players' apparel this week, Neil, has been very high up on highlighting players' nicknames. The nickname of Bingham is Ball Run, and he had one there to get the snooker in the first place, but at least the red, from Ronnie's perspective, doesn't go in. So, not a great amount of damage done by the fluke snooker.
One.
That was a good cueing shot, and the sort of shot when they go in, it brings some satisfaction, especially early in a match. This is something of a test of the way that you're hitting the ball, those shots. Just off straight. No, that was surprising. I actually thought he might play into the bunch there. He played on the loose red, and now, in doing so, I suppose he had to sort of half hit the ball. Interesting to see how Stuart Bingham plays here, because even by his standards, he has to be said, his results have not been great. Comes here off the ranking list, as O'Sullivan does, but Bingham has been not setting the world alight in qualifiers. Didn't make it through in either of the events stage to be played in Germany in the new year. And he hates missing events. No doubt boosted by being here, which didn't seem likely. So maybe he'll just look at this 1 week and think it's a bonus. Might enable him to play well. Has to be said that when he won the Masters, he didn't go into that tournament with any form either, so you can't write top players off.
Stuart Bingham 8.
All of that's true, Neil, and also, even though O'Sullivan does have overwhelming superiority in their head-to-head series, as Jill highlighted, Bingham's 3 wins over O'Sullivan all came on major occasions. Most notably the quarter-final of the World Championship in 2015, which Bingham went on to win, and his other 2 wins over O'Sullivan came in the UK Championship.
He's got good weight on the cue ball, but Bingham will be forced into taking this red on that's not that far away from the left corner. It's not an easy shot, though, underneath the cushion rail. That's nice.
Well,
that's nice. Thought he might finish on the brown ball, but he hasn't done. But say it looked an easy shot, but it really wasn't. He's got a bit to do on his next colour, though, given that he's not on the pink to the middle perfectly. It's going to be a little delicate shot, I think, here. Just to hold. And that's just the problem. I just feel that that's a bit like the O'Sullivan miss, where you're only half hitting through the ball early in a match, not quite accustomed to the conditions in the first few shots. So O'Sullivan with an opportunity here, which is a pretty good one.
Well. Six.
When he looked at those two reds, are not quite lined up to the pocket, as you can see.
Seven.
But really, there's options aplenty here.
Thirty.
He made an interesting comment recently, you know, Phil. I was thinking about what he said. He said he'll play on until he feels that his best snooker is not good enough to win. Well, of course, that day will come for everybody in the end, even the great O'Sullivan. But I'm pretty sure that day has not arrived, because his best snooker is still pretty scintillating stuff. World champion in the rescheduled Crucible. Well, it wasn't 18 months ago he last won it. So I'm pretty sure his best is good enough to beat almost anybody.
21.
Well, the day you talk about, Neil, whenever it arrives, is going to be a very sad day for all of us. It always has been and always will be a privilege
29.
to watch O'Sullivan.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 29.
He's got an aura about him, O'Sullivan, but he's not immune to mistakes. He's made two in this frame already. Missed brown and now missed red along the top cushion.
Well.
And really, this is an opportunity that Bingham should exploit.
Eight. Nine.
Well, yes, there's nothing very difficult about the way the balls are placed, but of course the
60.
really pressure cooker atmosphere we've got in here today is always going to make things difficult. That
17.
Didn't go in entirely cleanly. I don't think there's a problem with Bingham. I think he's another player. We're playing with the best players in the world. It's not going to affect him playing in front of a big crowd. But it does make you, maybe a little nervous. That applies to O'Sullivan as well.
24.
You want to entertain.
25.
Keeping it very simple there, playing on the brown ball. Surprised he did, actually, because he's got to ensure that he finishes behind the red. Not entirely sure he's going to control the cue ball, but he might want to put it in a little area here where he's got more than one option. That's pretty good.
29.
Just a little test of his cueing here.
At
the moment, he is passing those little tests. I think given that O'Sullivan has made a couple of mistakes, it's very important for Bingham to capitalise here.
$36.
No glaring obstacle
37.
for Bingham to clear to draw first blood.
$42.
Yes, he needs red colour red. Well, that was an edgy one. He was just
Stuart Bingham, 42
on the ball, but I didn't think any of that would be enough to make him miss. Yeah, missed it by quite a way.
One.
On the replay there, which was excellent, you saw the tension in the upper arm. It was perfectly identified, Neil. It was edgy, wasn't it? Visibly edgy.
8. Nine.
Playing from black to yellow from that angle is absolutely natural. So he's just got to do what he's done any number
60.
of times in his career, lead up to it, including the pink,
18.
to win a frame which did look gone.
$21.
Stuart Bingham, as I said, has not come into this match in the best of form, and already one or two errors.
$25.
Well, that's not perfect, but he certainly would have played onto the blue into the middle. Now he's going to have to regroup and play it into the bottom pocket. No problem.
30.
So this goes in. Ronnie had stolen frame one from an unlikely scenario when Bingham was on that red.
36. $43 in the first round. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
He made so many big clearances, and there, another one. That will hurt Bingham. He knows he should be ahead. In fact, he trails O'Sullivan off to a flyer. When you lose a frame, you know you should have won. That stings, especially against an opponent of O'Sullivan's calibre. You can see there the muscle in Bingham's arm was quite taut, suggesting understandable tension. The penultimate red went astray, and he was fully punished as a consequence.
Because he wants to use it to walk it out.
You know, in this tournament, these two have played each other on 3 occasions. O'Sullivan's won all 3, but there's an underlying trend
second frame.
in the sense that he's
Stuart
never
Bingham to break.
had it easy. When he beat Bingham in the final in 2013, he trailed 5-3 and 7-6, won 10-8. Also 2 first-round matches between these two in 2014 and again in 2018. They followed an identical pattern. It was 2-2, the first 4 frames were shared, and then O'Sullivan pulled away.
I'm just thinking of all that, and all those matches are very true, Phil. The other thing about these two is, I mean, these two have known each other for so many years since they were kids. There's not much about each other's game they don't already know, I would say. It's who plays better and who's in the best form, isn't it? I should think right now. Obviously O'Sullivan's favourite to beat Bingham. He's his favourite to beat most players, but it really is how they play in this best of 7 frame match. Simple as that. Well, that's a good job it went in, because the safety shot actually was not played all that well. He didn't play it like that. It was not an intended plant, because he hit the red on the way through. Now, how can he get from blue, missing the yellow and the left corner? Just one little path through. That's a beautiful shot. Lucky on the red, but not lucky there.
6. Seven.
Now, pink to the middle, similar sort of an angle to the one the red he missed, but clearly not playing from the side cushion. He will move reds away from the pink spot here in potting this. Developing the pink. Still a question of whether it does go on its own spot. Not so.
13. $14.
Yes, you might think he
17.
would prefer to play the red above the pink, but this red is with the rest, clears the pink to that pocket at a later date.
$18. Thanks, Jess.
That's not such a good shot, but he's got to play up and down again. Through bulk. That's well played again into an area, and this time a very profitable area. Now the red he moved away, as we said, is allowed the pink to pop into that pocket, so that was forward thinking.
24.
It was a fortuitous start to the break. There's
30.
no denying that. Well, we saw last night with Yang Bin Tao. The key to having a
30.
fluke is to make the most of it. Yan did. And Bingham's looking good here.
$37. 38. 44.
He's taken them well
45.
ever since, though. That bit of good fortune he had, and he's on the... Here it is. As you saw there, from that replay, that it wasn't actually a plant. There was a red that he hit on the way through.
51. 52.
'Well, Adam Making's a
58.
very tough group, this, didn't it? And I think nothing we've seen already is going to change that. You've got a man who's won a Masters and a World Championship in Stuart Bingham, and he's the player in the group that we haven't really spoken so much about. Oh, goodness me. He hit right across that. I don't know if he was stretching. There's something happened there. When you
Stuart
saw
Bingham, 58.
the shot, his cue did not go through straight. Just watch this. Oh, goodness. That's not a replayed light to watch and come completely out of the blue.
Well, they say, don't they, he cued around a corner. And that was the quintessential cueing around a corner.
It's a pity because he'd made those quite well from that fluke. Little maybe stretching or certainly not comfortable on the shot. But anyway, he's got a good lead. He's got to forget it. And it was just off straight, wasn't it? Marginally off. Very slight angle, but he hit it absolutely full on. Bingham hasn't got an easy pot here. One thing he won't want to do is move the two pretty safe reds below the black spot. Put another one there and try and kind of nurse this lead along and get him winning the frame, because right now Bingham desperately needs this frame to be won, not only because it's, you know, when you're 2-0 down, that's obvious, but just the way it's gone. He could put a couple of bad mistakes behind him if he could just get this frame.
Every top player produces the odd crazy clearance from nowhere. No one more so than O'Sullivan, a fact Bingham is well aware of. He will want to make this table as awkward as possible.
Rather unusual sort of shot selection there, I would say. Nothing wrong with it. But I thought initially he must be going for the pot. Well, he got very close to that one. If it was a little bit less of pace, it might have just crept in.
One.
Now the counter-attack for O'Sullivan is clearly not an easy table where the reds are. The colours are okay. Oh goodness. It's nervy, isn't it?
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1. One.
Again, another misjudgment.
Yeah, the frame lives on, doesn't it? He's now got to put a colour safe, I think. It's not how he wants it to be, but he really has to put something safe.
O'Sullivan 58 behind with 59 on the table, so no room for manoeuvre when it comes to colours, even if he gets the chance.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose on that basis you could take on a bold colour, but I think, as me, I'd be putting the yellow on the left cushion.
Stuart Bingham 1.
Has to be the right shot. You've got to play the percentages. Very well played from O'Sullivan to get a snooker. Didn't seem likely. A little swerve around the green, perhaps. Didn't want to hit too much of the red.
So close. Always looked as though he'd come off the cushion just a hair too straight.
Now the cue ball finished on the black, which was exactly what he was looking for. Anyway, another chance to get the frame one here.
One.
He's got there in the end, Phil, although it's not without a few scares along the way.
Well, it's been compelling viewing.
5.
No doubt about that. And while Bingham's made mistakes, O'Sullivan has 2. He's missed 4 pots so far.
30. $90. 20. $23.
Interesting stuff, as you would fully expect from these two former world champions.
Stuart Bingham 23 and the frame.
There's the
I'll
equaliser
chase it
from
up for you
Stuart
now
Bingham.
because you said they were bringing
Mistakes
it.
from both.
What's the now? Pat's got it in.
Honours even. It's a full house at the University of Bolton Stadium, the home of the Kazoo Champion of Champions, an event that's
Ronnie
been won
O'Sullivan to break.
more times by Ronnie O'Sullivan than any other player. But Stuart Bingham has shared the first two frames, and this is a relatively short race to four.
So a safety error, leaving O'Sullivan the red. Pretty much unforced error.
One.
I'd be happy enough to be on the pink now. So if he played it with topspin to hold for the black. Either way, he's okay there. So in first, Sullivan might need to raise his game from what we've seen in the first couple of frames.
8.
None of the players here are particularly well acquainted with playing on Rasson tables. There's always an adjustment process, but over the years, all around the world, I don't think anyone has been quicker to adjust to a table, to playing conditions,
40.
than the man at the table right now.
$90. 20.
Well, he missed a red along the cushion to the opposite
20.
corner earlier. This one, not a great angle on it.
20.
That's better, more like it. The split hasn't worked perfectly either. Got a red to the right corner through the little gap there of reds. That's the one you see is the most easy, or the easiest shot to play. The red to the middle, the red that he's close to into the left middle would be more difficult. Pot would offer perhaps better position. He's going to watch the cue ball here.
36.
Looks to have shifted on a little bit. That was the problem. He couldn't be under complete control there. But he's got the pink to the middle. He's all right.
Yeah, for the second time in the break, Neil, an unexpected pink comes to the rescue.
I think he got a little kick there. That looked to jump, I thought, when he hit it.
42.
Which is probably why the cue ball has stopped short of where he meant it to. Definitely jumped. The pink ball left the bed of the table and slowed the cue ball down.
40.
A better recovery shot than it looked.
$49. 50.
I feel like he's just battling here at this break just to get prime position, just to get things started. He may well be coming into this match in really good form, but at the moment he's just fighting
55.
the fight to get himself playing well.
56.
At the moment he's just about winning that battle.
$63. 64.
The frame is as good as one. So black will be enough.
Just under 6 minutes.
71.
Yes, and I would say not as plain sailing, Phil, as some of the wonderful breaks he's made during his long career. Just a few moments where he had to just get the cue ball back into position, but as ever, he manages it.
79. 80.
This week we've celebrated Neil Robertson getting to 800 centuries in professional competition. Mark Selby has got to 700. I'm afraid that kiss has probably denied O'Sullivan. He's 1,119th. I said probably. I gave myself a disclaimer. What a shot.
Yes, he finished straight on the black, which didn't help, but it was a tremendous red, and
95.
to play another good one here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 95 on the front.
Everyone loves to see an O'Sullivan century, even though there has been, as I said, over 1,000 in the past. What a way to regain the lead. A safety mistake from Bingham. Bingo from O'Sullivan. The frame was well and truly secure. The pressure was off, but a red that O'Sullivan knocked in the third frame was simply exquisite. How can you judge that potting angle? He did.
Thank you, the fourth frame.
Halfway to the quarter-final
Stuart Bingham
this
break.
evening.
Well, I wasn't happy about that. Bit of a muttering under his breath. He hit it too thick, which is never a good thing on those shots, because your cue ball doesn't really travel away from the reds very much. Not close, actually. Yeah, annoyed with himself. But Stuart, he's just not quite attacking that cue ball in the way we know he can. Just a little hesitant on that one, and he's good when he's punching through the ball. Oh, it's another unbelievable pot. This one in live play. It's a very difficult angle to find. Beautifully played. That's a tremendous pot. Well, it's a good way to get yourself in.
9.
Yeah, that was better than the shot we showed coming out of the break, purely and simply because it mattered.
Well, it was a gamble just going into them, but he felt it was one that would pay off.
16.
Awkward queuing, but he's developed 3 or 4 other
17.
reds now, so this is the consummate break builder in action. Best the game's ever seen.
20. 25.
And once again, with reds in open play, there was very little chance of him not finishing on
32.
something there. Can think of players who might have stayed on the black for a little while there, but there's no need. He's playing to win this match. Well, and that's 3 cannons. This time, somehow, it's all gone wrong.
38.
He'd be pretty disgusted with that, with all reds in open play. It was one of those cannons where he just felt he could control the cue ball better, but that is unexpected, that second nudge.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 38.
Well, he had touching ball, if you're wondering why there was no contact with anything there. Didn't help him much. Actually, he left a red on here. Oh, he's playing a more difficult red here to the middle. This is tough. Just not happening.
O'Sullivan asking Rob Spencer to clean the object ball. Yeah, the Bingham red to middle, that was very high tariff. A tough shot when you're full of confidence. Clearly, based on the results he's had this season, he isn't. And it never threatened. This one, far from a certainty though. When cue ball and object ball are so close together, judging the angle is tough. And he made that look a lot more simple than it actually was.
Three. 4.
Well, it's a golden chance again. Going to put these reds in the open in his previous shot. Which ended unexpectedly, that break, but here we are again.
$11. 12. 90.
One thing he does do,
20.
he's always done it, he wins frames very quickly. That last frame in just over 7 minutes, and I know it's been 2 visits to the table here, but you know, this frame is almost over. He needs a little bit more.
27. 20.
The colour, a red to follow it would absolutely seal the frame. Not quite the blink of an eye, but from 1-1, this match is being taken away from Stuart Bingham fairly quickly.
34. 35.
Historically, Neil, he's handed Bingham some heavy punishment over the years. He's made 28 centuries in their matches. And I was just doing some research earlier on. On 6 occasions against Bingham, he's made 2 centuries in a match. On 4 occasions, he's made 3.
$49.
If he's going to make a century, he's going to do well here. He's going to have to take the black with all of the remaining reds. The first one coming up, but the last 2 not so easy. Don't suppose it will matter that much, but I think he's responding to what is a very good crowd here today. Really enjoying watching him play.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 57. And the frame.
And the frightening thing is, despite all of the impressive snooker we've seen, O'Sullivan's not at his best, but he's good enough to take a convincing lead at 3-1. Centre stage and right in the middle of our picture, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan. 3-1 ahead, one more frame needed, and then we will see him again this evening.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break. Sit down as quick as you can, please. One.
He's already had a little look at a possible plant into the right corner. Don't know that it's on, but he certainly was looking at it. I think it's offline. Yeah,
4.
offline. There's a gap between them, but I don't suppose he'll be banking on that as his next red.
5.
Chance to nudge a few open here, I think. Can you believe it? I don't know if it was the same 2 reds that
Stuart
ended
Bingham
up
5. Ronnie
into a
O'Sullivan
plant. I
5.
don't think it was, but there's always the way when you're out of luck, out of form, that happens. Well, it was that red, but it came via the pink. From that angle, the plant was on. Amazing, isn't it? It's a bit unlucky because he'd already looked at the 2 reds. It's not easy down that cushion at speed. He's missed one already before that one.
Yeah, there were oohs and ahs from the crowd, but I'm not surprised he missed that at that speed. You're right, Neil. You have to be so accurate to get out for the black off that.
One. Four.
Well, this time the plant sort of bottom jaw, but looks as if it's on.
5.
That wasn't meant to happen. Meant to hit something on the way through. He looks a bit mystified. He didn't pop the
12.
black, I think, to the part of the pocket he expected. Didn't think the cue ball would end up there. He has got a red.
Thirty. $80.
Yeah, the red's to the
90.
left of the black's a bit of a nuisance to him. He's managed to get low enough, or has he, to be on the black, but the red was certainly getting in his way. And it has got in his way again. He'll be enraged. He was in a position where he could have played back for the blue or anything there,
Yellow ball.
but he decided to go for the black. And he can't afford to do what he did.
Stuart Bingham 90.
Sullivan. Chances are coming.
A slightly thicker kiss on the brown would have been preferable. At least the one he got kept the cue ball in bulk. But this red is well within Bingham's wheelhouse.
Well, it was Phil, but I have to say, I'm not fancying him for anything that's difficult because he's not hitting the ball very well for him. He's a player I love watching as well, but that was not a very smooth stroke, as you saw once again. Technically, I've seen his game in better shape. I think sometimes we just look at those long pots and think, well, they're just going to knock them in all the time. But in your mind, there's all sorts of stuff going on. If you're not winning matches and you're not playing as well as you can, and not scoring as heavily as Bingham, who is a very heavy scorer, a little bit of doubt will creep in. That is the nature of this game. Anyone who's ever played it will know. Things like this happen as well. It's quite a good safety shot.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
He knows he could go in off, but he thinks he probably wouldn't do, finishing in the corner there.
Right at the start of the match, Neil, you made a really good point about the fact that this season Bingham's been struggling. Let's just dissect his campaign. Unlucky in the British Open. The draw was cruel. He lost to Judd Trump in the last 64. Did get to the last 16 of the Northern Ireland Open, but lost in the last 64 of the English Open. And as you also mentioned, Neil, lost his opening match in German Masters and European Masters. So his schedule to start next year will be quieter than most.
It's quite amazing because O'Sullivan looked at that red, he thought it didn't go entirely, but it flew into the middle of the pocket in the end.
Yeah, and it was really well cued also.
5. Six.
It's really awkward queuing. He's right over the top of this red
30.
now for the one to the left corner. Just means it. No, you can just see the top of the cue ball. He should still get it, but it's clearly missable like this. It's done well.
14.
Well, at 3-1 down, it's pretty obvious he has to win the frame here, but it's more just his confidence needs a boost as well.
$21. $22.
Well, in playing on the blue there, it does mean he'll need something of those 3 reds in the middle of the table, even if he gets on the black from the bottom red.
27.
It might be that the bottom red actually will pot. Looking at that, not so sure to the opposite corner.
28.
And as he might look at the score now, but proof is he will need another red. And that bottom one, I think he could land on, but he's not entirely right on the black. He's just a little bit off straight. So the frame's not over yet. Got to play one more good positional shot. It's probably the worst angle you could have to get up for a red. Looks to have played it pretty well. There wasn't much room to manoeuvre there.
35.
So frame ball.
36.
The score in the reverse side off the previous black had to take effect. It did delightfully. And that's why Bingham is still involved.
43.
He sticks with it, does Stuart Bingham. When you consider he didn't win his first ranking event until he was 35. His second came when he was
51.
38. In contrast to O'Sullivan, of course, he won his first ranking tournament when he was 17. Just perseveres, and he is not out of this yet. No how, no way.
$58.
You see those length of the table doubles quite often in 9-ball pool, not so often in snooker.
63. Stuart Bingham 63 in the frame.
Good stuff from Stuart Bingham, that. His highest break of the match. And he remains in the match as a consequence. O'Sullivan's lead trimmed to 3-2. Perennially in the spotlight. That is Ronnie O'Sullivan. look at the crowd today. Our first full house of the week. And you know, he is the
Thank you,
main
the 6th round.
box office attraction. But Stuart
Bingham
Bingham
to break.
is a former world champion. He's a 6-time world ranking event winner. And he's more than capable of winning the next 2 frames to ground the rocket.
And we're certainly pleased to see the red avoid hitting the cue ball on the way back down the table. Cue ball was guided well, but you never quite know where the ball that you miss, the object ball in this case, is going to go.
One.
The question is, has the red covered the black? Maybe he can still get through. Yeah, and was a moment when he wouldn't have been sure of that.
Yeah, on the black.
Spotted something on the black ball. It's a good chance though now that he's created with that long red.
And when O'Sullivan gets an opportunity to clinch a match, he wants to make it as quick as possible. Let the axe fall.
8. Nine.
There wasn't much of an angle there, but he managed to force the cue ball up, albeit not quite as far as he would like for the black. Now the other problem he's just over a ball here, playing quite a delicate little shot on the black, so he's got to be careful. That little nudge is fine, puts him on choice of reds.
60. $70.
Well, it's in his own hands now. He's given him this early opportunity.
$22. 23.
Well, he's got the option of playing left-handed, O'Sullivan. This is what makes him, I think, a lot quicker.
28.
Many players would have to get the rest out for this, a right-handed player.
29.
And he plays with a lot of skill left-handed. We've almost taken it for granted over the years. A little stun run through there.
Lots of players switch hands these days, but you feel
36.
safer when O'Sullivan does it than pretty much anyone else.
37.
I was there when he played an entire match left-handed for the first time. Semi-final of the Matchroom League many moons ago against Peter Ebden.
$42.
Another plant. There's been quite a few in this match. Absolutely dead set as well.
$43. $50. Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Answers
50.
on a postcard. That is extraordinary.
Yeah, I think he wanted to avoid the bunch of reds perhaps on this shot, so your natural instinct was hit it on the thick side, get more of the red to get away from the bunch. But clearly missing the pot's no good to him. So he wasn't thinking quite as clearly as he would hope. Given an outside chance if this goes in.
One.
Well, now, I think Stuart Bingham thought that he was going to get this opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty good chance as well.
8.
Absolutely right. O'Sullivan is susceptible to the counter, no doubt.
$9. $60.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Stuart Bingham, 16.
Clipped the near jaw, and he was thinking about his next shot,
Thank
I believe.
you, gentlemen. One.
He walked back to his chair, Stuart Bingham, feigning to break his cue. He must feel like it. That was a terrible miss.
Certainly relieved O'Sullivan because it was out of his hands, wasn't it, there? He might have been looking down the barrel of a deciding frame.
$8. $9.
So red colour, he'll be through.
60.
Been a stop-start performance. There's been some good O'Sullivan, but he's missed too many shots for his liking, I'm sure. It's very high standards for himself. But I think one thing I will say is that we've seen that the first match, if you get through it, all week, the players have played a lot better in their follow-up best of 11 in the evening. And I think O'Sullivan might just be better for the run, you might call it. An event he's got such a great record in.
Yeah, bang on, Neil.
28. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
For the third time,
28.
these two play each other in the first round of the Champion of Champions. For the third time, O'Sullivan prevails by 4 frames to 2.